Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel, the only gun channel on the internet that's dripping with that BDE. That's right, Big Dad Energy. I've got a great one for you guys to torture your families with. How can you tell a rich cloud from a poor cloud? The rich ones make it rain. Yeah, I know it's awful, and I can feel you groaning from here. I'm David, and this is the Smith & Wesson M&P Competitor. Now, I'm mostly positive on this gun. The execution of this gun is brilliant, but there are some design misses that I feel like we need to talk about, and I'll be answering some of the three biggest questions that are probably popping up in your mind, which is it truly a competition gun, or is it just a repurposed duty gun? How does it compare to the M2.0 peanut butter version that just came out as well? How does it stand up in the field of the other $1,000 competition pistols? And you're also probably thinking, why should I listen to you when you're just some guy who tells really bad dad jokes, but at the same time you feel oddly compelled to subscribe and like the video? Because that's just the kind of guy that you are. But the short answer to that question is that I am a competitive shooter and have been for about 10 years now, so I'm going to be coming at this from the angle of, like, does the gun do what it say it's going to do right on the box? And even if the answer is no, the gun can still be pretty awesome, and this gun is pretty awesome, but I'm afraid it does fall a little short. So let's go ahead and get this right out of the way. I'm going to be challenging your dadness in this video, because in this video I went to a match to shoot this gun and the AC was out at the indoor range we were at. So I started in jeans because usually it's pretty chilly. I graduated to man prees and ultimately took out my pocket knife and created jorts. So feel free to let me know in the comments whether you would do the man prees, jeans, or jorts, or you can just savage me in the comments. The people on Instagram already tried to hurt my feelings, but I have a feeling you guys can do much better than those losers. But if not, you can buy a Big Dad Energy Cyborg Tiger shirt, now available in extra medium, in the link in the description. No, extra medium's not a thing, but it can make you look like you work out even if you don't. Well, not really. So before we talk about this, let's talk about what a competition gun is in 2023, because it's kind of nebulous. People just want to put like go fast features on a pistol and say it's competition, but really what that means, a competition gun is going to be informed by whatever the competition you're entering the gun into, because most competition guns are bracketed by gun features. So in 2023, the most popular division in both of the major sports in the US is carry optics. And what carry optics means is basically a production gun, which this is, with an optic bolted on top, which this checks the box in that one. Now, going to the next level, the true thoroughbreds for production racing are about 40 ounces and have significantly better triggers than their counterparts in the production lineups. And there's a couple other of nicety features that competitive shooters care about, like a case you can fly with and all this other kind of stuff. So this is going to be breathing the same air as like the Tanfoglio Stock 2, the CZ Shadow 2, the Canik Rival S, the SIG P320 Legion, and other guns that check all those boxes and compete in the USPSA and IDPA field. Since this gun is available for purchase at about $950 in late second quarter of 2023, it should be standing up competitively against the SIG Legion and the Canik Rival S. So the Competitor, how does it stand up? Well, the Competitor does not weigh 40 ounces because the frame is not steel, it's made out of aluminum. It weighs basically exactly the same as the polymer version of the 5-inch model of this gun. Trigger has been reimagined. It's got a dingus trigger safety that is more popular and prevalent on the other striker fire pistols in the segment. Now the trigger's not amazing, but it's also not bad. When I was shooting the match, I didn't feel like I was held back by it, but it also didn't give me great confidence that I could, thoughtlessly run the thing on tighter shots, which is not so big a concern in IDPA where the shooting's generally a little bit easier, but in USPSA where they stretch out, mini poppers out to 30 yards or something like that, that might become more of an issue. Heavier guns stabilize better, meaning when you swing them onto target, the amount of oscillation before they steady out to an acceptable sight picture is a little bit quicker, and also recovering from recoil, they tend to recover just a little bit quicker because the heavier object comes to rest a little bit faster. And about 40 ounces is kind of a sweet spot because number one, that's what's required by the rules, but also number two, it seems to be kind of the spot to be at for a non-compensated pistol. The other thing is that most of the competitors to this Competitor would have removable grip panels. The Competitor doesn't. It has interchangeable back straps. There are 4 additional back straps in the box, both regular and palm swell. I have the large palm swell installed, and honestly, I'd recommend the palm swells because they're honestly pretty fantastic. And they have that same texture in a plastic panel put on the front strap. So while they didn't use the traditional model of checkering the aluminum frame on the front strap, they still managed to get great traction and great purchase on the pistol through the use of their polymer, which is all to the good. Other production race gun features, it comes with a fiber optic front sight with a blacked out target rear, which is the right call. It also comes with a magwell, which for USPSA you would need to remove for carry optics, but is legal for IDPA carry optics. And one thing that's kind of a strange choice is they give you extended base pads on the magazines, but the capacity doesn't increase at all. So they're still 17 round magazines, but they just have the bumper pad that sticks out past the end of the mag funnel so you can seat mags. Kind of a strange choice, because if you're going to go through the headache at all of doing something different on base pads, why not at least increase the capacity? One piece of information you need to pick up on as you evaluate this is prior to announcing the competitor, I think they announced the M&P Metal, which is basically this same gun with a 4 1/4 inch top end. It doesn't have the mag well. It comes with 2 magazines as opposed to 4, and it doesn't have the paddle mag release on it. But at the same time, other than that, I think it's pretty much the same gun, which is to say, this is not a competition gun. This is a gun being branded as a competition gun when it's really probably just a duty gun at its heart. Which is okay, because for a long time we used duty guns in competition, and you can still use this as well, but it's not purpose built for it. And that's gonna bring us to our next question is, can the Peanut Butter M2.0 hang with this gun? Now, this gun is available for $950 right now. The Peanut Butter M2.0 is available for about $600. The differences between these two guns being is the Peanut Butter one doesn't come with a magwell or this extended mag button, and it has standard suppressor height sights as opposed to these fiber optic ones. And it only comes with 2 magazines rather than 4. So the magazines for M&Ps are kind of expensive at about 40 bucks. So you're looking at 80 bucks in additional magazines. You would need to buy a magwell for about 60 bucks. You would probably need 4 base pads for that sell for 20, 25 bucks a piece. And then you've got your paddle mag release, if you care about that, is available for about 50 bucks as well. So when you start to do that, you're still coming into about just shy of, maybe call it $100. And that makes you ask the question of, is it worth $100 to go to the aluminum frame versus the polymer frame? And I would say no. The only bit that is aluminum on this gun that you actually touch is going to be the underside of the trigger guard, because the front strap is polymer, the palm swell is polymer, like everything that you're touching on the gun is polymer. It's just like, why not just have the polymer one? They weigh the same. The one thing that the aluminum gets you that the polymer doesn't is the walls of the magwell are aluminum as well. Those of you who have done reloads on the clock know that a steel binding in an aluminum gripped gun is a real thing. It's more difficult to reload an aluminum frame gun than it is a polymer gun, which polymer on steel works great. It just flies right in there. So reloads are going to be a little bit more challenging on this gun, but you are getting the enhanced durability of an aluminum frame gun. So if you're like a super high burn shooter and you're worried about wearing out your frames, if you've ever bought replacement frames on your competition guns, that's an exceptionally small amount of people, then the aluminum one is gonna hold up better. Then you're like, well, maybe the pride in ownership is better. You're thinking like a P226 or a Beretta M9 or some of these other aluminum frame service guns where you rack the slide and it feels like the slide is on ball bearings. And no. This slide feels exactly like a polymer one because it has the same type of rail sections that the regular competitor does as well. There is no like better machining or higher quality sort of feel to the gun. It feels like a polymer M&P that is made out of aluminum. So how does the competitor stand up in the field of the other $1,000 competition pistols? But first, let me tell you about the new AXIL X-Core hearing protection. I think it's pronounced X-Core. It might be Score for all I know. But regardless, AXIL is coming out with some new AirPod style hearing pro with an SNR reduction of 29 decibels. They have the hearing augmentation as well as Bluetooth capability. So when you're on the range training by yourself, you can listen to podcasts and music, which is what I already do. And the price is pretty fair, 350 bucks. But if you use the code HUMBLE15, you can save 15%. Check out the link in the description for the new AXIL X-Cores, or Scores, whatever they are. So how does it stack up in the field of the other competition guns? The Canik Rival S and the SIG P320 is what we're really talking about. Both of those are available at about $1,000. As far as magazines are concerned, the Rival is going to come with 2 and the SIG is going to come with 3. The M&P is going to come with plates that can swap basically any kind of optic onto the slide, whereas the SIG has their native cut that accepts either an RMR or DPP footprint. while the Canic also comes with plates. The Canic is going to come with a holster, all of the tools to take the gun down to pins and springs. Trigger-wise, the M&P, I would say, is probably comparable to the P320, whereas the Canic stands in a field by itself with a really high-end trigger. Both of the other guns weigh 40 ounces plus, whereas this sucker weighs about 30 ounces. The M&P is a low bore axis striker fire gun, so that is going to have less muzzle climb sort of inherently, but it also is lighter weight, so it's not going to settle out quicker. The SIG is a high bore axis gun, and as is the Canic rival, but since both the other guns weigh 40 ounces, you get the benefit of that heavyweight frame. You can absolutely do whatever you want with a medium to lightweight gun like the Competitor versus the heavyweight guns. Proof of that is Nils from Team Canic last year won limited division with a polymer rival, which that is a 2011 45 ounce gun division. He won it with a 29 ounce plastic gun. You can do whatever you want if you're good enough. It's just the heavy guns tend to provide a little bit more of a runway to make mistakes and not punish you with hits kind of off target or whatever. That said, this gun does shoot really nice, so I don't know that this would be my first choice in that mix-up that I'm telling you about there, but at the same time, it absolutely is a choice there. Now, as far as my first choice in the field, picking a gun is a highly, highly personal thing. The ergonomics of the M&P are good. I would say, in fact, they're probably better than the other two frames. However, they're not so much better that I think I would walk away from 40 ounces. I would probably look at either one of those two platforms over this one, but there's absolutely valid reasons why you would want this and not the other two guns as well. So all that out of the way, let's talk about the Competitor and how it shoots and all that kind of stuff. So in my opinion, the M&P 2.0 was the best next-gen service pistol that came out in roughly the 2017 era after everybody released their MHS pistol entrance. I thought it was one of the better ones that came out, and nobody talked about it, but that's largely because Smith didn't really push them. For about $500 to $600, you could get one of the original peanut butter M2.0s, and it was easily one of the better guns in the field. The ergonomics are better. The texture on the frame is one of the best in the striker fire pistol game. I still stand by that because it does so nicely. Because it is a lighter weight gun and it has a low bore axis, you're not getting punished with the big floppiness of the recoil as much, and to that point it shoots really well. And because the traction is so good, you can hold it pretty flat. Like, traction is really one of the most important parts, and the geometry of the grip. With the palm swells that they give you, you're able to get your support hand behind the gun and have both hands assist in managing recoil. So despite the fact that it is lightweight, it is a very stable gun to shoot. It reminds me a lot of the Shadow Systems DR920L, and I would absolutely put this in a camp with that. Now, if you'd like to see a comparison between that gun and this gun, you're gonna have to like the video. I will do that work for you, but I'm not going to do it unless this gets 3,000 likes within the first week of the video going up. Some other features that were updated specifically for this gun that are appreciated is that the cocking serrations are located in a great spot on the slide, and they actually come up high enough on the slide to be useful by competitive shooters. Previously, they kind of stopped at the bottom of the slide and they really weren't all that useful. Now they're very usable and go all the way up. So that is a huge feature to the good. The paddle mag release is big enough to allow it to be easy to get onto, but small enough where it's not getting in the way of a support hand. And because the gun is so light, you're not in danger of dropping mags on table starts or anything like that. The slide release actually functions like a slide release on both sides. It is ambi, and it will drop the slide, which previously they had like a detente on the thing, so like it was weird to get the M&Ps to go back into battery using the slide release. This gun is set up so that it does it automatically now, which is a very welcome feature on a competition gun, especially in IDPA format. The trigger weight on this pistol is 4 3/4 pounds, and the character of the trigger is what you would typically see on a striker. There is a long take up to get to the wall while you're defeating the safeties, and then you kind of mush through, and then there's a little bit of over travel. The trigger actually has improved quite a bit since shooting the gun in, and it's only got about 300 rounds on it. But the reset is kind of anemic. It's not super positive. It doesn't really throw your finger forward. It feels a little bit longish. It's not super, super short, but at the same time, it's not terrible. I didn't have issues short stroking the trigger. Accuracy from the pistol seemed okay. I wasn't like clover leafing when I was zeroing the optic, and I don't have any bench rest footage because that's super boring and I don't like doing it, and you guys don't like watching it. but at the same time, I could get accuracy out of this pistol about what I would expect for a pistol in this category. I wasn't impressed by it, but also, you know, there was nothing bad there, which is all to the good. Another nice thing about this is that the optics plates come with the pistol in the case. There are a ton of optic plates, and they're not true optic plates. They're actually plastic spacers that fit into the optic pocket really nicely and then provide the recoil posts up into the optic body. The screws actually thread directly into the slide, so you actually get good screw engagement. I've had great luck with the M&P optic plates, although I've heard of people having issues with them. I've never had any, and I used to carry an M2.0, so I think they're a pretty squared away optic system. Recoil with the aluminum frame gun is about what you would expect. It doesn't deform in recoil so that the frame absorbs some of the energy. It just passes directly into your arms. Because it is a low bore axis gun, that means a lot of the energy from the gun, you're not losing a lot of energy in rotation. It's going straight into your hands and arms. So this is a fatiguing gun to shoot with a very direct recoil impulse. It's not unpleasant. Don't hear me say that unpleasant. Because of the back straps and how it spreads out the force on your palm, it's actually quite good to shoot. But at the same time, it does, you know, wear out your hands and grip a little bit more because it is so lightweight and it is a low bore axis gun. The frame ergonomics, I wish that there was a bit more sculpt at the back of the gun to get my thumb around the frame there in true, you know, good form there. But at the same time, you know, it's not horrible. I was able to kind of navigate that no problem. There are two ribs in the top of the slide, which I don't know why they're there. I don't know why they couldn't just leave that little bit of metal there. Maybe it's so people can port their barrel if that's what they're into or whatever. It just lets stuff into the barrel and potentially slows down the action, especially in a dirty competition holster. If you hit the deck on a stage and then holster the gun, there is the potential that you could get, you know, a rock in there. I don't love those, but at the same time, I personally haven't had problems with it, but I have seen it happen on the range. So the M&P Competitor, I mean, it is a worthy entry into the field. It's just so darn hard to stand out now because these guns that everybody's making are so amazing that it's very difficult to really stand out. The M&P M2.0 Competitor is a decent gun. I think there are guns I'd rather pick at the price point in the segment to compete with, but if you're in the M&P ecosystem and you want kind of the ultimate M&P, I would say that this is it. And from a flexing standpoint, having the aluminum frame and the tungsten frame, the kind of the two-tone look going on there, it is a great looking gun. I really like the gun, even though it's not quite what its build is being advertised as, but it's still a solid gun. So sound off in the comments if you got questions and I'll answer them if I can. Appreciate you guys. Catch you on the next one.